most important person, battle, or event during the whole war?
All right, let me limit it to the Navy, okay? In the Pacific, the Battle of Midway was one of the most important battles because that's where the carriers took on the Japanese Navy. And I think that in the Battle of Midway that they sank 3 carriers, 3 Japanese carriers. And it was the Doolittle, of course he flew later. They had a demonstration one time of an obsolete battleship, and this was during the 30s. And they flew airplanes with bombs over this battleship, and they sunk the battleship with bombs. And this was a kind of a forerunner for the war because during the war then they found out that they could sink a battleship and a carrier or a carrier with bombs from an airplane. And so that was one of the most important battles as far as I was concerned. I'd say the most important person was Adolf Hitler. Now that, I'm not saying that he was the best person. He wasn't a good person, you know that. But if it hadn't been for Hitler, I doubt, what does your teacher say?
Let me give you a little background here. They had to do this whole research thing, and they had lists of battles and places and people in World War II, and they had to create a website that explained what they thought was the most important thing, and then as a class, they had to come together and figure out what was the most important thing of all of World War II as a class. So it's not me, it's what they've decided is more important. So now they want to know what you think.
The most important person, of course, was me. But seriously, I suppose right away you start thinking of admirals and generals and things like that. I would say the ordinary foot soldier and the ordinary sailor were instrumental in the war. Now that's open for debate. You know, somebody say, well, how could a soldier do anything without a general? You know, how could a soldier do anything if he didn't have supplies from back home, material, guns, ships, planes, you know, things like that, tanks, jeeps. Industry played a large part. That's a tough question, Kelly. What do you give these guys tough questions like that?
I'm trying to make them think.
Yeah, well, this guy's making me think. The atomic bomb, the Manhattan Project, that figured out how to do this bomb. That was a big event. I was on my way to Japan. We hadn't left the States yet, but I was on an LCI at the last, and they transferred me from the carrier to this LCI. And by the way, this is a commission pennant that flew from our carrier, and it's dirty from the oil smoke and stuff, and the wind is just shredded, as you can see. And they put up a new one, and I wanted the souvenir from the ship, so I got that old pennant. It's called a commission pennant, and it has to be a commissioned ship before they can fly a thing like that. Now that picture of that carrier there does not have a commissioned pennant on it, because those aren't sailors on that ship. Those are shipyard workers. It's not in commission yet when that picture was taken. Okay, and then dropping the bomb on Japan, you see that forced them to surrender before we had to go over and sit there and duke it out on the beaches with them. And I was on this small ship, and this small ship had a 40 millimeter and 220s and a 50 caliber. And that meant that we were headed in for close support of the troops that were on the beach. And that would have been hazardous duty, believe me. That wouldn't have been very nice at all. And so this bomb saved a lot of our lives. They figured that a lot of people were going to die trying to take the island of Japan the conventional way. So I would say that atomic bomb